On behalf of the Parent Involvement Committee, I am pleased to welcome DDSB Director of Education, Camille Williams-Taylor. Thank you very much. Camille rejoined the DDSB earlier this year, bringing decorated experience in different leadership capacities, including 7 years previously as the Superintendent of Education with the DDSB. Camille uses this experience to cultivate a learning environment that fosters creativity and embraces critical thinking. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right. So tell us about yourself and why you wanted to return to the DDSB.
Well, certainly, as you referenced in the introduction, I've had 7 years here as a superintendent, as a part of the DDSB community, but I'm also a parent and a member of the Durham community for 20 years. So I really consider the Durham community my home. It's where my children have grown up and gone to school, and it's where, I've had a very impactful experience professionally. So when the opportunity presented itself, I presented myself and I was selected, and I'm very pleased to have been selected to return.
And we are pleased to have you. Thank you very much. So what have you learned from other positions you have held in regards to parent engagement that you could see us implementing here at DDSB?
Well, certainly I would say to you that every experience that I've had in education, from the time that I was a teacher to this role, my previous role as director in Ottawa, have taught me more and different opportunities, more and different things around how it is that we can engage not just parents, but families and communities. We recognize that our children come to us from a variety of different realities. And so as a part of how we really ensure that we support our kids in every way we can, we need to think of lots of different ways of engaging families and communities with us and in partnership with us to help us to support their children in being successful. So some of the things that I've learned is that, and I guess it's a key message, is that there's not one way to engage. I like to tell people the story. I'm a mom as well, and my kids have all come through public school right here in Durham, and I've only attended a couple of school council meetings, but I've been a very engaged parent. So participating in some of the learning opportunities in schools, participating by going on the website and following along with what students, my kids are learning at school, showing up for a variety of different things, all of those pieces are being engaged. So what I've learned is that as a system, we need to create opportunities for parents to engage in a variety of different ways and to make sure we notice and we value and pay attention to the ways that all of our families choose to engage with us.
Excellent. Very well said. Thank you so much. So what is your vision for how the Parent Involvement Committee can best engage our diverse community in Durham?
Well, when I was here in Durham as a superintendent, the Parent Involvement Committee was one of my responsibilities. So I know the huge value that the Parent Involvement Committee brings to our system. The Parent Involvement Committee brings voices from all across the district. And so when we think about how it is that you come together in that meeting every couple of months, what you take away and work with school councils and your schools and schools in your community, that is really where you have, as a Parent Involvement Committee, a lot of influence. So you're able, for example, the representatives who come from the north are able to hear what's happening in Pickering or in Oshawa, and they are able to go back to their communities and to their school councils and say, folks, guess what? Here are some things that are being tried in other schools and communities. We might want to try it out, or we might bring them up to share with us what they're doing. So I really see it as a networking opportunity to share ideas and to build out some of the promising practices, we like to say, in other areas of the district.
So how is the DDSB addressing the experiences and parents' need for support in our diverse communities, such as Islamophobia and anti-Black racism?
Right. And that's one of the things our families have been great at doing, is bringing to our attention those kinds of needs. We certainly like to see that or like to think that we have lived experiences amongst our staff, but we have far richer and more current lived experiences from our community members. And so the things that we've been really trying to do is build structures that draw from those experiences to look at what do we need to do in schools, what do we need to do in classrooms, and what do we need to do to build community. So sometimes we draw on experts like Dr. Nicole Westburns, for example, who is a professor from the University of Toronto, OISE, and she has helped us to understand how it is that identity informs the experiences that our children are having, what we need to do differently, what we need to do better, and we create learning structures to do that. Sometimes we draw from our school councils or our staff, and sometimes we draw from the students as well. In many of our schools, our secondary schools, we have Muslim student networks who will engage with the school administration to talk about what they need or what people aren't seeing that students need. So a lot of times our communities would like to see us create policies and structures, which we have done. So we know we have our human rights policy that's in place and our Indigenous rights policy. But I often say that it's not a policy that will change the experience. It's the experience that changes the experience. And so how do we bring those experiences into schools, build together, listen carefully, and adjust by creating structures and behaviors that create a different experience for our students? I'm not ever going to promise that we're going to hit the perfect mark, but my goal is that we will, through listening and engaging and changing, continually improve so that our students and our families will continue to feel an improved experience in our schools and hear their voices reflected in the practices that we undertake.
Thank you so much. So mental health is of great concern to many parents and individuals, and a supportive and responsive school environment can be crucial to the well-being of students. How can parents support their children in ensuring that their mental health is connected to their academic success?
Well, that's a really involved question because it is, when we talk about mental health means so many things. It is complex and it is complicated and it is layered. And I would say that listening and observing are key pieces at school and at home. If your child's behavior starts to look differently, they become more quiet, or they become withdrawn, or they start to go out with friends that are unusual to you, or engage in behaviors that are new that you've not noticed before, that's an observation that deserves a question. Students who typically attend very frequently, are at school every day and on task, and suddenly are not coming every day anymore or seem to be very tired, that's an observation that educators will make. And then we ask questions. So what's happening? Is there something new? Is there something that you need me to be doing? And sometimes that's where the partnership with the parents, the families, and the schools, you might get a call that says, I've noticed something that's different. Is there anything I need to understand? And sometimes it's as simple as a grade 11 student taking on extra shifts at work. They're with their part-time job, and so now they're tired coming to school. But sometimes it can be more complicated than that and needs a different kind of attention. So I think that the answer to the question in terms of how we partner in ensuring that mental health and well-being is very much through observation, paying attention to the children that we serve. And you know, people sometimes criticize me about using the term children, but I continue to persist in using that, because even when they're 17 and 18 years old, they're still someone's children. They're still, you know, children in big bodies. And so I would say to you that we need to pay attention to what children are telling us and communicating to us, not just through what they say, but sometimes what they don't say, through their behaviors, and just through how it is that we observe them.
Thank you so much. So as we return to more normal in-person school times, we are seeing staffing shortages, both district-wide and province-wide.
Right.
How do you feel parents can support the achievement of their children in these circumstances?
Well, I think that that presents a challenge that is difficult to respond to on the ground and every day, because kids come to school expecting to see their educators, whether it's their teacher or their ECE or their EA in place, their principal, their vice principal. That is a big part of the stability for our students, and we recognize that. And so it's challenging to address the gap when those people aren't in place. But what we do as a system is we work very hard to ensure that while it is that the person that our students are used to may not be there, that they do in fact have the structure there. So they still is going to be their class, they will still have the support they need. And I think that where families can support that is helping students to understand and be flexible. How it is that they are in fact responding with resilience to that change. And sometimes the change is for longer. Sometimes they will arrive at their classroom and notice that or experience that the educator that they usually work with is not there for a longer period of time, a week, 2 weeks. And it's that reassurance at home and at school that things will be okay. Sometimes we have change, but we continue to ride through. You draw on the strength of what is being presented, and you ask for help if you need to, if there are some gaps that are presented with the absence of that person. But I think that the best way our families can really support these kinds of operational interruptions is the reassurance to young people that things will be fine. We will work together. If there's something you need, please let us know, and we will support at school with as much as we can.
Thank you, Camille. It was really nice speaking with you. So I'm going to use this opportunity on behalf of the Parent Involvement Committee and the DDSB community. Thank you again, Director Williams-Taylor, for joining us today. We enjoyed learning more about your background and encourage other parents within the community to join us as we move toward our goal of continuously improving student achievement and well-being. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much.